The Viridian Ultimatum. Admiral Elena Chen stood at the viewport of Lunar Base Alpha, her steely gaze fixed on the blue marble of Earth hanging in the void. The weight of humanity's fate rested heavily on her shoulders as she contemplated the message that had arrived just hours ago. The Viridian Empire, the undisputed masters of most of the known galaxy, had finally turned their attention to the upstart humans. Their ultimatum was clear: submit to Viridian rule or face annihilation. They gave Earth 48 hours to respond. Ken's comm unit chirped. "Admiral, the Security Council is assembled and waiting for you." "Acknowledged. I'm on my way," she replied, turning away from the viewport. As she strode through the corridors of the base, Chen's mind raced with calculations and contingencies. The Viridians thought they knew everything about Earth's capabilities. Their vast intelligence network had cataloged every ship, every weapon, every defense system humanity had revealed to the galactic community. But they didn't know about Project Lazarus. Chen entered the conference room, where holographic projections of Earth's top leaders awaited her. President Amara Okafor's face was grim as she addressed the assembly. "Ladies and gentlemen, we face the gravest threat in human history. Admiral Chen, please brief us on our options." Chen stepped forward, activating a holographic display of the solar system. "The Viridian Ultimatum leaves us with three choices. First, we can submit, becoming a vassal state of their empire. Second, we can openly defy them, likely triggering an immediate attack. Or third, we can appear to submit while activating our hidden defenses." The room erupted in heated debate. Some argued for immediate surrender, hoping to spare Earth from destruction. Others called for open defiance, unwilling to bow to alien tyrants. Chen waited patiently for the clamor to subside before continuing. "I recommend the third option. Project Lazarus gives us a fighting chance, but only if we maintain the element of surprise." President Okafor leaned forward. "Explain Project Lazarus to those who aren't yet aware, Admiral." Chen nodded, changing the holographic display to show a vast array of advanced warships hidden throughout the solar system. "For the past decade, we've been constructing a secret fleet using technology reverse-engineered from the Jartol crash on Mars. These ships possess stealth capabilities beyond anything the Viridians have encountered. We've hidden them in the Oort cloud, asteroids, and even in plain sight, disguised as space debris." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. General Hiroshi Tanaka, head of the Global Defense Force, spoke up. "How were we able to keep this hidden from Viridian spies?" "Compartmentalization and misdirection," Chen replied. "Only a handful of people knew the full scope of the project. We fed false information through official channels while the real work happened off the books." The Chinese premier's hologram flickered as he leaned in. "And you're certain these ships can stand against the Viridian fleet? They've conquered 1,000 worlds." Chen's expression hardened. "Our simulations suggest we have a 60% chance of repelling their initial assault. After that, it becomes a war of attrition. But it's a far better chance than we'd have without Project Lazarus." President Okafor stood, her decision made. "Very well. We will appear to submit to the Viridians while secretly preparing our defenses. Admiral Chen, you have full authority to implement Project Lazarus. How soon can the fleet be ready?" "We can have the ships in position within 36 hours, Madam President. We'll need to begin subtly moving them as soon as possible." "Do it," Okafor commanded, "and may God have mercy on us all." As the meeting adjourned, Chen felt the enormous responsibility settling onto her shoulders. She had set this plan in motion years ago, hoping it would never be needed. Now the survival of humanity depended on its success. Over the next day and a half, a carefully choreographed dance unfolded across the solar system. To Viridian observers, it appeared that Earth was preparing for a peaceful transition of power. Civilian ships were grounded, defense satellites were powered down, and world leaders made solemn speeches about cooperation and progress. But beneath this veneer of submission, Project Lazarus stirred to life. Hidden ships slipped from their concealed berths, taking up strategic positions throughout the solar system. Ground-based weapon systems, disguised as communications arrays and scientific instruments, powered up their targeting systems. Admiral Chen oversaw it all from the heart of Lunar Base Alpha, now transformed into a state-of-the-art command center. As the deadline approached, she received confirmation after confirmation of assets in place and ready. With just an hour left before the Viridian ultimatum expired, Chen sent a coded message to all Lazarus units. The sleeper must awaken. Across the solar system, men and women who had trained in secret for years took their positions. In hidden bases on Mars, Europa, and Titan, crews powered up experimental weapons that the Viridians couldn't begin to comprehend. As the final minutes ticked away, President Okafor addressed the people of Earth one last time. Her words were carefully chosen, meant as much for Viridian ears as for her fellow humans. Citizens of Earth, the dawn of a new era is upon us. Today, we join the greater galactic community under the guidance of the Viridian Empire. Let us embrace this change with open minds and hopeful hearts. Even as the president spoke, the first Viridian ships began to appear at the edge of the solar system. Massive dreadnoughts and sleek cruisers, their hulls gleaming with the confidence of 1,000 victories, moved into position around Earth. Admiral Chen watched the enemy fleet's formation on her tactical display. She allowed herself a grim smile. The Viridians were arranged perfectly, expecting no resistance. They had no idea of the fury about to be unleashed upon them. As the Viridian flagship hailed Earth to formally accept their submission, Chen's finger hovered over the command to activate Project Lazarus. In that moment, she thought of all the sacrifices made to reach this point, of the brave men and women who had worked in secret for years, knowing they might never be recognized for their efforts. The Viridian Emperor's smug face appeared on the main screen. People of Earth, you have chosen wisely. Your planet is now under the protection and control of the Viridian Empire. Prepare to receive our... Chen pressed the button. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fleet shimmered into view. Advanced energy weapons powered up, targeting systems locked onto the shocked Viridian ships, and a new chapter in galactic history began to unfold. The Viridian ultimatum had backfired spectacularly. Now it was humanity's turn to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. As alarms blared and the enemy fleet scrambled to respond, Admiral Alina Chen gave the order that would echo through the ages. All ships, weapons free. For Earth and all her children. Attack. Operation Silent Thunder. The void of space erupted into a dazzling display of energy weapons and explosions as Earth's hidden fleet engaged the Viridian Armada. Admiral Alina Chen watched from her command center on Lunar Base Alpha, her face illuminated by the tactical holodisplay showing the unfolding battle. Status report, she barked, her eyes never leaving the swirling dance of friendly and enemy signatures. Captain Zara Malik, her tactical officer, responded crisply. Our first volley caught them completely off guard, Admiral. We've disabled or destroyed 30% of their fleet in the opening minutes. The Viridians are attempting to regroup, but their formation is in chaos. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Years of preparation were paying off. Excellent. Have Beta and Gamma squadrons move to contain their retreat. I want their flagship isolated. As Chen's orders were relayed, the battle continued to unfold across the solar system. Earth's stealth ships, finally revealed, demonstrated capabilities that left the Viridians reeling. Advanced energy shields absorbed enemy fire while returning devastatingly accurate shots. Experimental gravity weapons warped space around Viridian cruisers, crushing them like tin cans. On board the Viridian flagship, Eternal Dominion, Emperor Zaxel raged at his commanders. How is this possible? These primitives were supposed to be defenseless. High Admiral Vexera, her tentacles writhing in agitation, struggled to form a response. My Emperor, we had no intelligence suggesting they possessed such technology. Our scans show weapons of Jartal origin, but far more advanced than anything we've encountered. Zaxel's eyes narrowed dangerously. Find a way to turn this battle around, Admiral, or I'll have your head decorating my throne room. Back on Lunar Base Alpha, Chen received a priority communication from President Okafor. Admiral, the UN Security Council is demanding an update. What should I tell them? Chen straightened her uniform. Inform them that Operation Silent Thunder is proceeding better than expected. We've bloodied the Viridian nose, but this fight is far from over. Recommend maintaining global defense readiness. As Chen spoke, alarms blared across the command center. Captain Malik's voice cut through the chaos. Admiral, the Viridians are launching planet-side assault pods. They're targeting major cities. Chen's mind raced through contingencies. This was expected, but happening sooner than anticipated. Activate our ground-based defenses, and get me General Tanaka of the Global Defense Force. Within moments, General Hiroshi Tanaka's grizzled face appeared on a side screen. Chen didn't waste time with pleasantries. General, the Viridians are making planetfall. It's time to unveil our ground surprises. Tanaka nodded grimly. Understood, Admiral. Activating Operation Urban Phantom now. Across Earth's major cities, what appeared to be normal buildings, vehicles, and infrastructure suddenly transformed. Skyscrapers opened to reveal massive ion cannons. Subway tunnels disgorged armored vehicles equipped with reverse-engineered Jartol tech. And in the skies, clouds of nanobots coalesced into deadly swarms, ready to shred Viridian drop pods. As the first wave of alien invaders entered Earth's atmosphere, they were met with a level of resistance that defied all their intelligence reports. Pod after pod was destroyed or disabled before reaching the ground. Those that did land found themselves facing an armed and prepared populace, supported by advanced weaponry that rivaled their own. In New York, a Viridian assault team led by Commander Krazak fought their way through the streets, baffled by the fierce resistance. "This is impossible," he growled into his comm. "These humans fight like seasoned warriors, not cowering primitives." His words were cut short as a swarm of nanobots engulfed his squad, reducing their armor to dust in seconds. Krazak's last transmission was a scream of disbelief and terror. Similar scenes played out in London, Moscow, Beijing, and other major cities around the globe. Humanity's carefully hidden strengths were revealed one by one, each a brutal surprise to the invading Viridians. Back in orbit, the space battle continued to rage. Earth's stealth fleet, though outnumbered, used hit-and-run tactics to devastating effect. Chen watched with pride as her ships danced through the Viridian formation, striking critical systems and vanishing before the enemy could effectively retaliate. "Admiral," Captain Malik reported, excitement creeping into her voice, "we've isolated the Viridian flagship as requested. Beta Squadron is moving to disable it." Chen nodded. "Excellent. Prepare a boarding party. It's time we had a face-to-face chat with Emperor Zaxol." As Beta Squadron engaged the Eternal Dominion, a small, sleek ship detached from Chen's command carrier. The boarding party, led by Major Area Santos, prepared for what could be the most crucial mission of the war. "Remember," Chen's voice crackled over their comms, "our goal is to capture, not kill. The Emperor is more valuable to us alive." Major Santos acknowledged the order as her team's ship maneuvered through the debris-strewn battlefield. They watched in awe as Earth's fleet continued to hold its own against the vastly larger Viridian armada. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, chaos reigned. Emperor Zaxol bellowed orders, his composure cracking as his invincible armada crumbled before these supposedly primitive humans. "My Emperor," High Admiral Vexera pleaded, "we must retreat and regroup. We cannot win this battle." Zaxol turned on her, his eyes blazing with fury. "Retreat. The Viridian Empire does not retreat. We will crush these insolent humans if I have to destroy their entire planet to do it." Before Vexera could respond, the ship rocked violently. Alarms blared as system after system went offline. The Eternal Dominion, pride of the Viridian fleet, was dead in space. As Emperor Zaxol raged impotently on his command deck, Major Santos and her team breached the flagship's hull. They moved swiftly through the corridors, their advanced armor easily overpowering the shocked Viridian defenders. Back on Earth, the tide had decisively turned. General Tanaka's forces had repelled the ground invasion, with thousands of Viridian troops surrendering in the face of overwhelming technological superiority. The general allowed himself a rare smile as he reported to President Okafor, "Madam President, Earth is secure. The enemy has been defeated on all fronts." President Okafor nodded solemnly. "Excellent work, General. But our job is far from over. The real challenge begins now." As she spoke those words, Major Santos and her team burst onto the bridge of the Eternal Dominion. Emperor Zaxol found himself staring down the barrels of weapons he had dismissed as primitive just days ago. Major Santos stepped forward, her helmet retracting to reveal a stern human face. "Emperor Zaxol of the Viridian Empire, in the name of Earth and her people, you are hereby placed under arrest." The Emperor's mouth opened and closed soundlessly, his world crumbling around him. In the space of a few short hours, everything he thought he knew about the galaxy, about his empire's invincibility, had been upended. As Major Santos secured the Viridian leader, Admiral Chen's voice came through on all channels, addressing both her forces and the defeated Viridians. "This is Admiral Alina Chen of Earth. The Viridian flagship has been captured, and Emperor Zaxol is in custody. To all Viridian forces, stand down immediately. The war is over." Across the solar system, Viridian ships powered down their weapons. On Earth, alien invaders laid down their arms in surrender. Operation Silent Thunder had succeeded beyond humanity's wildest hopes. But as the adrenaline of battle faded, Chen knew that the real work was just beginning. Humanity had revealed itself as a major galactic power, and the repercussions would echo across the stars. The galaxy would never be the same, and Earth would need to navigate the turbulent waters of interstellar politics with the same skill and foresight that had won them this impossible victory. As reports of surrender and victory poured in from across the solar system, Chen allowed herself a moment of reflection. They had saved Earth, but at what cost? And what challenges would tomorrow bring? With a deep breath, she squared her shoulders and prepared to face the uncertain future. The stars awaited, and humanity had proven itself ready to claim its place among them. The battle for Proxima Centauri. The news of Earth's victory over the Viridian Empire spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the days following Operation Silent Thunder, the political landscape of known space shifted dramatically. Longtime vassals of the Viridians seized the opportunity to declare independence, while other powers watched Earth with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Admiral Alina Chen stood before the United Nations Security Council, her uniform crisp despite the exhaustion evident in her eyes. The victory celebration had been brief. There was too much work to be done. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "while we've won a significant battle, the war is far from over. The Viridian Empire spans thousands of worlds. We've bloodied their nose, but they'll be back, and in greater numbers." President Amara Okafor leaned forward. "What do you propose, Admiral?" Chen activated a holographic display of nearby star systems. "We need to secure our immediate stellar neighborhood. That starts with reinforcing our colony on Proxima Centauri B. Intelligence suggests it will be the Viridians' first target for retaliation." The Chinese premier's brow furrowed. "Can we spare the ships? Surely our own solar system's defense takes priority." "With respect, Mr. Premier," Chen countered, "if we lose Proxima Centauri, Earth itself becomes vulnerable. It's our first line of defense and our foothold to the stars." After hours of debate, the Security Council approved Chen's plan. As the meeting adjourned, General Hiroshi Tanaka approached her. "Hell of a thing you're proposing, Alina. Holding Proxima against a full Viridian counterattack." Chen managed a tired smile. "Worried you'll miss out on the action planet side, old friend." Tanaka chuckled. "Hardly. I'll have my hands full coordinating with the new Viridian Provisional Government. Emperor Zaxel may be in custody, but there are plenty of holdouts causing trouble. Speaking of our royal guest, Chen said, her expression turning serious. Any progress on the interrogations? Tanaka shook his head. He's still in shock, babbling about impossible technology and betrayal. Our xenopsychologists are working on cracking him, but it'll take time. Chen nodded. Time we may not have. I'm leaving for Proxima in 6 hours. Keep me posted on any developments here. As Chen's flagship, the UES Horizon, prepared for departure, activity across the solar system reached a fever pitch. Ships were repaired, crews rotated, and supplies ferried back and forth. The fledgling human fleet that had bloodied the Viridian Armada was about to face an even greater test. On Proxima Centauri, Colonial Governor Maya Roshanda received the transmission from Earth with a mixture of pride and trepidation. Their little colony of 50,000 souls, established just 5 years ago, was about to become the focus of an interstellar war. Roshanda addressed her people from the steps of the Colonial Administration Building. Citizens of New Hope, Earth has thrown off the yoke of alien oppression before it could even be placed upon us. But now we stand at the forefront of humanity's defense. Our home may soon become a battleground, but we will not yield. The colonists cheered, their faces a mixture of determination and fear. They had come to this distant world seeking a new life among the stars. Now, they would have to fight to keep it. As Chen's fleet made the short FTL jump to Proxima Centauri, engineers and scientists worked around the clock to fortify the colony. Orbital defense platforms, hidden beneath the ice of Proxima, were activated and moved into position. On the surface, shield generators and weapon emplacements rose from hidden underground facilities. Chen arrived at Proxima Centauri with a sense of foreboding. The system seemed too quiet, the space around New Hope undisturbed. Status report, she barked as soon as communication was established with the colony. Governor Roshanda's hologram appeared on the bridge. Admiral, we've completed 80% of the fortification process, but our long-range sensors detected a massive energy surge at the edge of the system. We think the Viridians are coming, and in force. Chen's jaw tightened. Understood, Governor. We'll take it from here. May your people weather the storm that's coming. As if on cue, space around Proxima Centauri erupted with the telltale signs of multiple FTL exits. The Viridian counterattack had arrived. Chen surveyed the tactical display with growing concern. The Viridian fleet outnumbered them at least 3-1, with capital ships that dwarfed anything in the human arsenal. Well, she muttered, they certainly didn't waste any time. Admiral, her XO reported, we're receiving a transmission from the Viridian flagship. A hulking reptilian figure appeared on screen. This is Grand Marshal Zokthar of the Viridian Empire. You have illegally detained our emperor and attacked our forces. Surrender now, and we may yet show mercy. Chen stepped forward, her voice steady. Grand Marshal, this is Admiral Elena Chen of Earth. Your empire attempted to subjugate a free world. We defended ourselves, as is our right. I suggest you turn your fleet around and return home. This is your only warning. Zokthar's laugh was like gravel in a meat grinder. You've courage, human, but courage will not save you from the full might of the Viridian Empire. As the transmission cut off, Chen turned to her crew. Battle stations. All ships, execute Plan Theta. Let's show these overlords what humanity can really do. The space around Proxima Centauri erupted into chaos as the two fleets engage. Human ships, utilizing their superior maneuverability and stealth technology, darted in and out of the Viridian formation, striking with pinpoint accuracy before vanishing again. On the surface of New Hope, colonists huddled in reinforced bunkers as the sky above them lit up with the fury of battling starships. Governor Roshanda stood in the colony's command center, coordinating with orbital defenses and ground-based weaponry. Ma'am, one of her officers called out, Viridian dropships are approaching the northern hemisphere. Roshanda's eyes narrowed. Activate the atmospheric defense grid. Let's give them a warm welcome. As Viridian landing craft entered New Hope's atmosphere, they were met with a hail of energy beams from camouflage surface cannons. Swarms of autonomous drones, launched from hidden silos, engaged the alien ships in dogfights among the clouds. In orbit, Admiral Chen watched as the battle unfolded across multiple fronts. Despite being outnumbered, the human fleet was holding its own, using innovative tactics and their Jartol-derived technology to devastating effect. "Admiral," Captain Malik reported, excitement in her voice, "the Viridian left flank is faltering. Beta and Gamma squadrons have opened a gap in their formation." Chen saw the opportunity immediately. "All ships, this is the Admiral. Concentrate fire on Grid Sector 9. Let's split their fleet in two." Human ships surged forward, pouring fire into the weak point of the Viridian formation. The alien fleet, unused to facing opponents with comparable technology, struggled to adapt to the rapidly changing battle conditions. On board the Viridian flagship, Grand Marshal Zokthar raged at his subordinates. "How are these humans matching our weapons? Where did they get this technology?" His tactical officer, visibly nervous, responded, "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures similar to Jartol technology, but far more advanced. It's as if they've taken the base designs and improved upon them significantly." Zokthar's eyes widened in realization. "The Jartol crash on Mars. We thought we had recovered everything of value. Could the humans have?" He shook his head, refocusing on the battle at hand. "Intensify forward firepower. I want that planet reduced to ash." As the Viridian fleet pressed their attack, the orbital defenses around New Hope revealed their full potential. Massive ion cannons, previously hidden beneath the icy surface of Proxima, opened fire. Viridian ships, caught off guard by the sudden barrage, began to fall out of formation. On the surface, the ground battle raged. Viridian shock troops, those that managed to land, found themselves facing not just colonial militia, but advanced combat drones and powered armor suits that rivaled their own technology. In the skies above New Hope, Squadron Leader Yuki Tanaka, daughter of General Hiroshi Tanaka, led a wing of next-generation fighters against the Viridian air assault. "Starburst formation," she commanded her pilots. "Let's show these Genos what Earth's finest can do." The human fighters executed a complex series of maneuvers, their Jartol-enhanced engines allowing them to pull off turns and accelerations that left their Viridian counterparts floundering. One by one, alien craft fell from the sky, unable to match the skill and technology of Earth's pilots. Back in orbit, Admiral Chen saw that the tide of battle was turning in humanity's favor. The Viridian fleet, for all its numbers, was being outmaneuvered and outfought at every turn. But victory, Chen knew, would come at a terrible cost. "Status report," she commanded, her voice tight with the strain of hours of intense combat. Captain Malik's response was grim but tinged with hope. "We've lost 30% of our fleet, Admiral, but the Viridians have lost over half of theirs. Their formation is breaking up." Chen nodded, allowing herself a small moment of satisfaction. "Signal all ships. Prepare for the final push. Let's end this." As the human fleet surged forward in a coordinated assault, the Viridian lines finally broke. Ships began to retreat in disarray, their vaunted military discipline shattered by the unexpected ferocity of Earth's defense. On the bridge of his flagship, Grand Marshal Zokthar watched in disbelief as his forces crumbled. "This is impossible," he muttered. Then, louder, "All ships, retreat, fall back to the rally point." Admiral Chen watched as the Viridian fleet fled, leaving behind a debris field that would serve as a grim monument to the battle. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of victory and its cost. "Stand down from battle stations," she ordered. "Begin search and rescue operations for any survivors, ours or theirs." She paused, then added, "And get me a secure line to Earth. The UN Security Council needs to know what's happened here." As the adrenaline of battle faded, the true impact of what had occurred began to sink in. Humanity had not only successfully defended its first extrasolar colony, but had done so against the full might of the galaxy's most powerful empire. The battle for Proxima Centauri would go down in history as the moment humanity truly announced its presence on the galactic stage. But Chen knew that this was only the beginning. The Viridians would be back, and Earth would need allies in the fights to come. As she prepared her report for Earth's leaders, she couldn't help but wonder, how would the rest of the galaxy react to this upstart species that had so decisively defeated the undefeatable Viridian Empire? The stars had borne witness to the birth of a new power. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. Counterattack at Viridian Prime. The galactic landscape had shifted dramatically in the weeks following the Battle of Proxima Centauri. News of humanity's decisive victory over the Viridian Empire spread like wildfire, igniting a chain reaction of rebellions and declarations of independence across Viridian-controlled space. Admiral Alina Chen stood before the United Nations Security Council once again, her uniform adorned with new medals that felt heavy with the weight of lives lost and decisions made. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady but tinged with fatigue, "we find ourselves at a crossroads. The Viridian Empire is in disarray, but they're far from defeated. Our intelligence suggests they're regrouping for a massive counteroffensive." President Amara Okafor leaned forward, her eyes sharp. "What are you proposing, Admiral?" Chen activated a holographic display of the Milky Way, zooming in on a particular sector. "We take the fight to them. A strike at the heart of the Viridian Empire, their homeworld, Viridian Prime." The room erupted into a cacophony of voices. The Russian representative stood, his face flushed. "Are you mad? We barely held them off at Proxima Centauri. How can we possibly attack their homeworld?" Chen waited for the noise to die down before continuing. "The Viridians are overextended, trying to maintain control over rebelling systems. Their home defenses are weaker than they've been in centuries. If we strike now, we can end this war before it engulfs the entire galaxy." After hours of heated debate, the Security Council approved the plan, albeit with significant reservations. As the meeting adjourned, General Hiroshi Tanaka approached Chen. "You're playing a dangerous game, Alina," he said, his voice low. "If this fails, Earth will be exposed." Chen nodded grimly. "And if we do nothing, we'll be fighting this war for decades. Sometimes, the best defense is a strong offense." As preparations for Operation Spearhead began, Chen received an unexpected visitor in her office aboard the orbital command station. Dr. Zora Khalil, the lead xenobiologist in charge of studying the captured Emperor's axle, entered with a troubled expression. "Admiral, we've made a breakthrough in our communications with the Emperor," Khalil said without preamble. "What he's revealed, it changes everything." Chen leaned forward, her interest piqued. "Go on." Khalil took a deep breath. "The Viridian Empire, it's not what we thought. They're not conquerors by choice. They're running from something that terrifies them more than anything we could imagine." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. What could possibly frighten an empire that spans thousands of worlds? "They call it the Hunger," Khalil explained. "An ancient, all-consuming force that devours entire galaxies. The Viridians have been expanding, strip-mining worlds, and subjugating species in a desperate attempt to build up enough strength to fight it when it arrives." Chen sat back, the weight of this revelation settling on her shoulders. "And how long do we have?" Khalil's voice was barely above a whisper. "According to the Emperor, less than a century." The next few days were a blur of activity as Chen grappled with this new information while overseeing the preparations for the assault on Viridian Prime. The human fleet, bolstered by ships from newly liberated worlds, gathered at the edge of Viridian space. On the bridge of her flagship, the UES Horizon, Chen addressed the assembled fleet. "Men and women of Earth and our allied worlds, we stand on the precipice of history. Today, we fight not just for our freedom, but for the future of the galaxy itself." The road ahead is fraught with danger, but I have faith in each and every one of you. Today, we make our stand." A chorus of cheers echoed through the comm channels as the fleet jumped to FTL, hurtling towards the heart of the Viridian Empire. The scene that greeted them as they dropped out of FTL above Viridian Prime was one of chaos. The once mighty Imperial fleet was a shadow of its former self, with many ships showing signs of battle damage from quelling rebellions across the Empire. "All ships, engage as planned," Chen commanded. "Cobra Squadron, you have a go for Operation Blindside." As the main fleet engaged the Viridian defenses head-on, a group of stealth ships slipped past the battle lines, making for the planet's surface. Led by Major Area Santos, the team had a crucial mission: to capture the Viridian High Command and force an end to the war. The space above Viridian Prime erupted into a furious battle. Human ships, their Jartol-derived technology, now honed by weeks of conflict, danced through the Viridian formations. Beams of energy crisscrossed the void, and explosions bloomed like deadly flowers among the stars. On the planet's surface, the Viridian capital was in turmoil. Grand Marshal Zokthar, who had assumed control in the Emperor's absence, barked orders from the central command bunker. "Where are our reinforcements?" he roared. "We are the Viridian Empire. We do not fall to upstart primitives." His aide, trembling, responded, "Sir, our forces are stretched thin across the Empire. Many have deserted or joined the rebels. We're on our own." Zokthar's reply was cut short as the bunker shook violently. Alarms blared, and the sound of weapons fire echoed through the corridors. Major Santos and her team had arrived. The human strike force fought their way through the bunker's defenses, their advanced armor and weapons making short work of the Viridian guards. Santos led from the front, her movements a blur as she incapacitated alien after alien. Back in orbit, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold with a mixture of pride and concern. The human fleet was holding its own, but the cost was high. Ships on both sides erupted into fireballs as the conflict intensified. "Admiral," her tactical officer reported, "we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the planet's surface. It looks like they're powering up some kind of super weapon." Chen's mind raced. This wasn't in any of their intelligence reports. "All ships, evasive maneuvers, concentrate fire on that energy source." As the fleet scrambled to react, a blinding beam of energy shot from the planet's surface, slicing through several human ships before dissipating. The casualties were severe, but it could have been much worse. "Status report on Cobra Squadron," Chen demanded. "They've reached the central bunker, Admiral. We've lost communication, but their locator beacons are still active." Chen nodded grimly. Everything now hinged on Major Santos and her team. In the depths of the Viridian command bunker, Santos and her squad finally breached the main control room. Grand Marshal Zokthar stood defiantly, surrounded by his highest-ranking officers. "It's over, Marshal," Santos declared, her weapon trained on the Viridian leader. "Call off your forces and surrender." Zokthar sneered. "You fool, you have no idea what you're doing. The hunger comes, and only the Viridian Empire stands a chance of stopping it." Santos hesitated, caught off guard by the Marshal's words. In that moment of distraction, Zokthar lunged for a control panel. One of Santos' team reacted instinctively, firing a shot that caught the Viridian leader in the chest. As Zokthar fell, his hand slammed down on the panel. Suddenly, every screen in the room lit up with a single, terrifying image. A massive, dark shape moving through distant space, consuming everything in its path. "The hunger," one of the Viridian officers whispered, his voice filled with dread. Santos stared at the screens, the full weight of the situation crashing down upon her. She opened a channel to the horizon. "Admiral Chen, we've secured the command center, but there's something you need to see." Hours later, as the battle in orbit wound down, and the Viridian forces laid down their arms, Chen stood in the bunker, watching the footage of the hunger with a grim expression. The Viridian High Command, now under guard, had explained everything. Their millennia-long preparation, the reason for their aggressive expansion, the desperation that drove their actions. Chen opened a channel to President Okafor back on Earth. "Madam President, we've achieved victory here at Viridian Prime, but the situation has changed dramatically. We're no longer looking at a war against an empire. We're facing an existential threat to the entire galaxy." Okafor's hologram flickered as she processed this information. "What are you suggesting, Admiral?" Chen took a deep breath. "We need to sue for peace with the Viridians immediately. And then we need to prepare for the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. The fate of not just our world, but every world hangs in the balance." As the transmission ended, Chen looked around the Viridian Command Center, at the mixture of human and alien faces all united in their fear of the approaching threat. The war they had been fighting suddenly seemed small in comparison to what lay ahead. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, rising from an unknown species to a major power in a matter of weeks. Now they would need to rise again, not as conquerors, but as saviors. The real battle, Chen realized, was just beginning. A new galactic order. The Grand Hall of the newly established Galactic Concord buzzed with activity. Representatives from hundreds of worlds, former enemies and newfound allies alike, gathered to address the gravest threat any of them had ever faced. At the center of it all stood Admiral Alina Chen, her weathered face a testament to the battles fought and the challenges overcome. It had been 6 months since the revelation of the Hunger's existence and the subsequent armistice between Earth and the Viridian Empire. In that time, the galaxy had undergone a transformation unlike any in recorded history. Chen approached the podium, the eyes of the assembled representatives upon her. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of countless lives resting on her words. "Distinguished delegates," she began, her voice carrying across the hushed chamber. "We stand united today not by choice, but by necessity. The Hunger approaches, an ancient force of destruction that threatens not just our individual worlds, but the very fabric of our galaxy." Murmurs rippled through the audience. Chen continued, her voice growing stronger. "But we are not without hope. In the crucible of conflict, we have forged new alliances, developed technologies once thought impossible, and discovered strengths we never knew we possessed." She gestured to the Viridian delegation, where the pardoned Emperor Zaxul sat alongside his former enemies. "Our recent wars, as terrible as they were, have prepared us for this moment. We have seen what we can achieve when we work together, when we combine our knowledge and our resolve." Chen activated a holographic display, showing the combined fleet of the Galactic Concord. Ships of human, Viridian, and dozens of other designs floated side by side, a testament to their newfound unity. "Project Bulwark is now complete," Chen announced. "A network of early warning systems spans the outer reaches of our galaxy, giving us precious time to prepare for the Hunger's arrival. But detection is not enough. We must be ready to fight." The display shifted, showing schematics for weapons and defenses on a scale never before seen in the galaxy. "With the combined scientific minds of 100 worlds, we've made advancements that would have taken centuries in peacetime. Jartol technology, Viridian gravitic weapons, human AI, all merged into defenses capable of standing against cosmic horrors." As Chen spoke, on planets across the galaxy, massive construction projects were underway. Orbital platforms larger than cities were being assembled, housing weapons that could shatter moons. On Earth, the Sahara Desert had been transformed into a vast energy collection array, feeding power to shield generators that could protect entire star systems. But it wasn't just about military might. Chen's expression softened as she continued. "Yet our greatest strength lies not in our weapons, but in our diversity. Each of our species brings unique perspectives, unique solutions to the challenges we face. It is this tapestry of cultures and ideas that may well be our salvation." She nodded to Dr. Zora Khalil, who stood with a mixed team of human and alien scientists. Already, our xenobiology teams are making breakthroughs in understanding the hunger's nature. We may yet find a way to communicate with it, to divert it, or, if necessary, to destroy it. The chamber was silent, all eyes fixed on Chen as she delivered her final words. The road ahead is long and fraught with danger, but I have seen the courage of our peoples, the brilliance of our minds, and the strength of our unity. Together, we will face this threat. Together, we will survive. And together, we will ensure a future for all sentient life in this galaxy. The hall erupted in applause and cheers, representatives from 100 worlds rising to their feet in a show of solidarity. As Chen stepped back from the podium, she felt a hand on her shoulder. It was President Amara Okafor, her eyes shining with pride and determination. "Well said, Admiral," Okafor murmured. "You've given them hope." Chen nodded solemnly. "Hope is good, Madam President, but we'll need more than that to survive what's coming." As the assembly broke into smaller groups, discussing strategies and sharing technologies, Chen found herself approached by an unlikely pair, Emperor Zaxol and General Hiroshi Tanaka. Zaxol spoke first, his once haughty demeanor replaced by a newfound humility. "Admiral Chen, I owe you and your people an apology. We judged you too quickly, saw you as a threat rather than the allies you could be." Chen accepted the apology with a nod. "We've all made mistakes, Emperor. What matters now is how we move forward." General Tanaka chimed in, his gruff voice tinged with amusement. "Who would have thought? A few months ago, we were at each other's throats. Now the fate of the galaxy rests on us working together." "Indeed," Chen replied, a small smile playing at her lips. "The universe has a strange sense of humor." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent message. Dr. Khalil approached, her face a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "Admiral, we've made a breakthrough in our research on the hunger. You need to see this immediately." Chen excused herself and followed Khalil to a secure briefing room. The scientist pulled up a series of complex diagrams and data streams. "We've been analyzing the long-range sensor data," Khalil explained, her words tumbling out in a rush. "The hunger, it's not just a mindless force of destruction. There are patterns to its movements, purpose in its actions. We think it might be alive." Chen's eyes widened as she absorbed the implications. "Alive? You mean it's a single, galaxy-sized organism?" Khalil shook her head. "Not exactly. More like a collective. Billions of smaller entities working in unison, consuming everything in their path to sustain their existence. But here's the crucial part. We believe we can communicate with it." The Admiral leaned in, her voice hushed. "Communicate? How?" "It's responding to certain energy patterns we've been emitting," Khalil explained. "We think, with the right sequence, we might be able to establish a dialogue. Maybe even reason with it." Chen sat back, her mind reeling with the possibilities. The fate of the galaxy might not rest on a climactic battle, but on a conversation with a cosmic entity beyond their comprehension. "Get me the Concord Council," Chen ordered. "They need to know about this immediately. And Dr. Khalil, keep working. You may have just given us the key to our survival." As Chen left to brief the council, she paused at a viewport, gazing out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the hunger was approaching. But for the first time since learning of its existence, Chen felt a glimmer of genuine hope. Humanity had come so far in such a short time. From a species on the brink of subjugation to a linchpin in the galaxy's defense, they had proven their worth not just through martial prowess, but through innovation, adaptability, and an unbreakable spirit. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Chen knew that humanity would face them head-on, standing shoulder to shoulder with their new allies. The galaxy had seen what humans were capable of when pushed to their limits. Now it would see what they could achieve when striving for a common goal. As she turned back towards the council chambers, Chen allowed herself a moment of reflection. The path that had led them here had been brutal and costly. The scars of war would take generations to heal. But out of that crucible of conflict had emerged something remarkable. A united galaxy standing together against an existential threat. The hunger was coming, but humanity and their allies would be ready. Not just with shields and weapons, but with courage, ingenuity, and a determination that spanned the stars. The greatest chapter in galactic history was about to be written, and humanity would be holding the pen. Admiral Alina Chen squared her shoulders and strode purposefully towards the council chambers. There was work to be done, a galaxy to save, and a future to secure. Humanity had found its place among the stars, and they would fight with everything they had to keep it. The battle for survival was just beginning. But with the combined strength of a united galaxy, there was hope. And sometimes, hope was the most powerful weapon of all.